Good morning. Welcome to Old Dog Workshop. What we're going to do today is we're going to build us a raised bed planter. It's going to be a 16 by 46 by 32 inches high. I got one right here that I built yesterday. It didn't turn out too bad, so we're going to build another one. I'm going to add these to my inventory. First thing what we're going to need to do, I'm going to set my saw to 2 5/8. We'll be cutting these pickets in half. The legs on this one's going to be 2 5/8 inch wide. First thing I did is run my picket through the planer, plane down one side to get it smooth. Makes it a little bit easier on us old people. Once I get my saw set up for 2 5/8, I'm going to rip 2 of these pickets down to make the legs. Now I'm going to need an additional 2 pieces, 2 5/8 by 14 inches long. That's going to be the braces on the bottom of the legs. I'll go ahead and cut them now and get it out of the way. I'm also going to need to readjust my saw to 1 3/4. I need a frame for the top, and I also need 2 pieces 43 3/4 to hold the bottom in the planer. I'll go ahead and rip them down now to length, to width. So I get them ripped down to width, and I can cut them for length over on the radiation arm saw there. I want to make sure you use this push block when you get down there. Possibility of that saw snatching that wood through there and cutting the end of your thumb off. I done experienced that one time. Alright, I moved over to the radiation arm saw. A lot of people don't like using this saw because it's very dangerous. One thing you want to be concerned about is you never want to reach across like this and pull your saw. That thing will catch a piece of wood and snatch it out there, cut your arm off if you ain't careful. What I did is bring my 4 pieces that are 2 5/8, stack them together, get the ends about as flush as you can get them. We're going to stack them all up on top of each other. What I'm going to do is square off the end. I'll measure it out and we'll cut 8 pieces at 32 inches long. I can put a clamp on the end to hold them all together. That's my mark at 32 inches. What I'll do now is I'll just leave that sitting right there. I'll take these pieces, move it down, flush it up with the end, chop them off so they're all the same length. I'm going to be using the left arm this time because I got a short piece I'm going to cut off. I do it that way to ensure that they're all the same length. I ain't got a cocked up leg on one side. What I told you a little while ago, I need two pieces that are 2 5/8 by 14 inches long. Those are going to be the braces on the bottom of the leg. So I got my measuring here, so I'll just line up my piece with my 14-inch spot. Make a cut. There's my two braces for the bottom of the leg. This planer here needs 6 pieces for the sides. The side depth is almost 15 inches. So I need 3 pieces on each side that are 45 inches long. What I do is line up 3 pickets, square off the ends, mark them and cut them at 45. Put my clamp on the end to hold them in place. Gives me 3 equal pieces at 45. I need to do that one more time because we need 6 pieces. I'll go ahead and do that and we'll come back to another step. Next part we're going to cut is the short sides. Short sides are 12 3/4 inches. I've set up my stop block at 12 3/4 inches. I'm going to take the remaining parts from my side pieces and cut them down. I'm going to need a total of 14 pieces. It takes 8 to fill the bottom and then 3 on each side. We'll go ahead and cut them next. Take out your tape measure. Make sure your measurement's right or close. Get it close and cut them all the same size. Really, the technicality of the measurement is not that big of a deal. Got a short piece I can't hold on to, so I'm going to shift over to the other side and cut it with my left hand. Cutting that in, give me a total of 12 pieces, and I had 2 leftover pieces that were 12 3/4 from my previous build that I used to make up for the 14. What I need to do now is drill some drain holes in these. They're going to be the ones that go in the bottom. I'm going to put one on each end. I've got a 3/8 inch drill bit set up in my drill press, and we'll go ahead and knock that out. Measurement on these holes from the end is really not that critical because they're only drain holes. So just kind of line them up, eyeball them, pop a hole through there, and carry on. What we're going to do now is we're going to move over to my compound miter saw here. And I'm going to cut the framework to go around the top. First thing I'm going to do is get two pieces that are cut at 1 3/4. I'll put a 45 on one end. And we'll go from there. Always let your miter saw stop before you carry on. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't, but you should really make it stop. Give me a clamp the ends to hold them steady. At this point I'm going to flip it over. Flip it over. Going to lay out 46 5/8. This for the side. Put your mark at 46 5/8. You can draw your line. Makes it easier to see that line for us old people than it does most folks. I'm going to line that line up with the edge of my block here. It's pretty well set. Hold on to my pieces and cut the other end. Since I was holding this side, I just brought it back up. Next thing I need is two pieces that are 15 5/8. Same size. Put your clamp on, flip it over. Measure out 15 5/8. Put your square on there and mark it. Using the angle side your square, you can go ahead and mark your 45. Make sure it's flipped over. Line it up. Let it stop at that. It gives me the two end pieces for the frame on the top. I also need two pieces that are mitered on the end for the braces on the side of the planter. Going to use this pieces that are 2 5/8 to do that. Going to take the smooth side, put it towards your fence, cut 45 on one end. I got a spark mark down here on my fence, 12 inches, and that's just make it easier on me instead of laying out every time with the tape measure. Gonna flip it over, put it on that mark, cut the other side. I need two of these. There's one. I'll do this other now. Gives me two pieces for each of the, one piece for each side. Kind of brace the middle of your planter box. What I need now is two pieces that are 43 3/4 to mount inside the bottom of the planter box for the bottom of itself to set on to. So I'm going to swap my miter saw to 90 degrees. Not really concerned about the ends, whether they're flush or not. But I like to keep them the same length, so I'll put a clamp on here. Measure out 43 3/4. This one you really don't need to draw a line across because it's really not that critical. Just going to stand it up on its side. Set it up. Grab a hold of the end. Cut it off. That gives me all the pieces I need to go ahead and build this planter. We'll go ahead and get everything rearranged and set up, and we'll start to build it. Alright, I done rearranged everything a little bit. First thing we want to do is build the sides. Lay out 3 pieces that are 45 inches long. Get them squared up on the end. You want to try to keep the gaps in between them narrow enough. Square them up on the end. We're going to attach the legs. First thing you want to do is get you some Tap Bond 3 wood glue. Throw you a couple of beads of wood glue on the end. Line them up. Make sure they're square. Throw you some staples in them. I use 1-inch staples. A lot of people use brad nails, but I find that the staples hold a little bit better. Your glue is what's going to hold most of it together. Same thing on the other end. Throw your bead of glue down there. Make sure your legs face in the same direction as the other. Put it on there, square it up. See, it's a little bit different. There's a little gap right here. I'm going to go ahead and try to fix that while we're working on this end. Then I'll squeeze it together with my hand down here. Get it squared up. Next thing I want to do is take one of these braces I cut for the middle. We'll measure it out. This is 39 3/4. So we go to 38. 19 is 38. 19.5 is 39. 1/2 3/4 is 3/8. 19 7/8 is what we want to be. Put your mark there. That's going to be the center of your board. Throw your bead of glue on the back of it. Get your square, set it on there. Kind of center it up on that piece down at the bottom. Throw you a couple of staples in this one to hold it in place. Now what we're going to do is put the outside portion of the legs on. That's this end right here. I like to keep this side towards me because I want to line everything up flush with this side. So I keep this side towards me so I can see what the hell I'm doing. I'll throw a bead of glue down there. Make sure you got your smooth side out. Line up the end. Throw you some staples in there. Put a little extra staples on this one because it's a little bit bigger. When you do this side, you're going to turn your staple gun sideways. Kind of line it up. Shoot your staple in there. Do that with your staple gun because those staples have a tendency to shoot out to the side. Do that, it kind of helps prevent from poking a hole in the side of it. It don't guarantee it 100%, but it makes a big difference. Same thing on the other end. Throw your bead of glue down there. Smooth side out. Throw you some staples in there. I do the same thing to the other side. I'll go ahead and knock that out and we'll come back to it. Alright, on this part we're going to put the end blocks in, which is 12 3/4 inches. At this point in time I'm going to stand these up on the table. These with a little wider legs sometimes stand up pretty good, so you kind of luck out, so to speak. One side stands up, one side don't. That's not a problem. We'll make it work. At this point in time I like to use clamps. Going to take to stand your sides up, you're going to run your bead of glue down the inside. At this point you'll take your 12 3/4 with the smooth side where you planed it down, push it down. Line it up with the leg. Take you a clamp. Some people don't use clamps, I prefer to use them. Kind of helps hold everything together. Get your other two pieces, put the smooth side down. Throw your clamp on the other end. Kind of pulls it together for you, holds it in place. Make sure everything's snug. You're going to throw some staples in on the inside of this. Take that, we're going to flip it over and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. After you do one or two of these things, you get it figured out the easiest way to do it. Throw your bead of glue down there. Take the smooth side of your board, we're going to line it up on the top. Take your clamp, swing it around. Clamp that in place, lay in your other two pieces. Take your other clamp, put it down here underneath the bottom, get it out of your way. Make sure everything's down snug, throw you some staples in there. Seems like every time I build one of these, the air compressor comes on, so don't be surprised if the air compressor comes on during this process. At this point in time, we're going to put one of the braces in down at the bottom. 14-inch piece that I cut earlier. Got me a piece of 2x4. I measured, use it to lay out my measurement. Put a mark. Throw in some glue above that mark. Stick your piece in there. Gonna be a little snug going in. Hopefully that makes everything all right. Line it up with them marks, throw in a couple of staples. And I still got to put one on the other end, but we'll get to that here shortly. What we're going to do now is we're going to put the pieces inside on the bottom to hold the bottom of the planter in. Take your clamps off, put them out of the way. Lay your planter down on its side. People don't have such a big bench to work on, but I just happen to be fortunate. Get your pieces 43 3/4. Set it up, get you some glue. Run your bead of glue down in the bottom. Line your piece up with the bottom, set it, staple it in place. As you're going across, you can line it up. It's a little bit flexible. Looks like I'm out of bullets. Check the bullets. Out of bullets. It's 1.5-inch staples I get from Harbor Freight. Throw it in there, load her up, put that last one in. Gonna flip it up on its other end now. Put that last 14-inch piece in. Mark it with my block. Throw on some glue. The glue pretty much holds everything in place once it dries up. Staples will just kind of hold it until the glue dries. Throw you a couple of staples in there. Lay it down on the other side and put the other piece at the bottom in. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to shift over to another station where we actually put the bottom in. I done shifted over to my other station. I got lowers the planter down a little bit so I can see inside. Also, this one here swivels around a little bit, makes it a little bit easier when I do these big ones. First thing I want to do is put a bead of glue down the inside on them end boards that I put in. Spin it around. Once you get the glue in, I'm going to go ahead and start sliding these pieces in the bottom. Put the end pieces in first, help square it up. Last piece we put in is going to require some trimming. This is the last piece. What we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to do a measurement on the inside gap. So we're looking at 5 and 3/16. A bit smaller, I'm going to cut it 5 1/8 and we'll go from there. Move over, cut that piece at the table saw real quick. Got that piece cut down, go ahead and stick it in place. Smack her down. What I like to do now is I'll take these clamps and I'll put them on the bottom to pull it together. Kind of help line everything up. Make sure everything's pushed down, set in the bottom, then what we're going to do is staple all this in place. Spin it around. Got those stapled in place, we'll spin it back around and take them clamps off now. Gonna shift back over to another station and put the top together. Well, maybe I'm gonna do that. Hell, I gotta pause this thing. Back over to the table, I'm gonna put my top section together that sits on top. I'll do that over here before I set it on top of the planter. Take your 15 and 5/8 pieces, throw you a little bit of glue on the end of them. Line up your smooth sides on the table. Get your corner lined up. Throw a staple in that bad boy. Line up your other corner. Throw a staple in. You know some people don't do this, but I find it a little bit easier to hold everything together than try to piece it together one at a time on top of the planter. Throw another staple in this end. You're good to go. Now you're ready to mount it onto your planter, and we'll shift back over there and get it. Alright, we shift it back over to the planter box now, throw a bit of glue around the top perimeter. Y'all see a truck go by that door every now and then. They're redoing the road out there. Resurfacing the road, so sometimes it's noisy as hell. Before I started building these planters, I bet you I didn't go through 10 small balls of glue about like this right here. Started building these planters, I'm on my 4th 1-gallon container. I buy it a gallon at a time now, so it makes it a little bit easier. Once you get your glue on, take your top, set it in place. You're going to help line it up. I like to line up the inside. A little gap in there. We got an issue on this one. The damn pieces are too short. So something I messed up on this one. I'm going to have to recut that whole damn end piece here. You know, every once in a while you make a mistake, and if you look on here, that's about a 1/2 inch too short. I ain't quite sure what I did, but I think I might know I measured 45 5/8 instead of 46 5/8. We'll go ahead and redo that one and get back to you. Alright, I done rebuilt that piece. Go ahead and lay it on top. I'm going to line up the inside. Try to keep the inside accurate. A little bit of lip on all parts. I'm going to throw some staples in here to hold it in place. Nothing's perfect. Everybody makes a mistake every now and then. You just got to move on, make the correction, and live with it. You can use that mistake for something else. If nothing else, we can make firewood out of it. I'm going to put some staples in the center on the end. There you go, my air compressor. Almost made it to the end. So with that said, I almost made it. This planter is complete. We'll set it over here on the floor, get a look at it. That builds up my inventory. We're back online now. I'll get to adventure in to do something different. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. And we'll try to keep some of this stuff going. I ain't no telling what you're going to hear or what you're going to see on this here device from Big Old Dog Woodshop. Have a good day.